Welcome to our presentation on reflecting your farm values in your value-added products. My name is Ellie Steensma, and this is my sister Kate. She's going to be coming up after me. This on the screen here is one of our cows, Houdini, and my twin brother Zach. Alongside our brother Ben, we also all represent the fourth generation of our family farm. So we wanted to focus today on talking about our values of our farm and how we've been able to incorporate those values into our value-added products. Someone once said to me that farmers are the original ecologists, and that idea of incorporating ecology into our land management practices and how we run our farm is kind of what has shaped who we are as farmers and how we make decisions on a day-to-day basis on our farm. Up here is our mission statement, and so our mission statement, we believe, is a direct reflection of what our values are, and part of those values are reflecting on the concept of land management and ecological enhancements. So I'm going to be starting off by talking about those different values that we hold on our farm and how that has shaped who we are today and helped us make our products. So our mission statement is, Steensma Creamery is a fourth generation family farm committed to regenerative food production in conscious partnership with our animals and land. So these values that we've shaped and what has shaped our mission statement didn't just start with us. We are blessed to be living on a fourth generation family farm that started 76 years ago with our great-grandparents, John and Pearl Tolsma. They bought the farm in 1946, and we are still farming on that same land today. After they passed it on to our grandparents, Fred and Rena, they were able to continue the family farm practices and build the family farm up until our parents took over, John and Karen, and we still actively farm with our parents today in many different ways. Our dad is the main herdsman alongside my twin brother Zach, and we've been very grateful to have this strong root that has embedded us into having this shared common values that we have. And I believe that a lot of these values that we share as farmers and with our family have shaped us into what we are today. And I believe too that the reason why all four of us siblings are still a part of the farm is because of these strong values that have been rooted into our family and especially inspired into us by our parents. So of the first component of our values, one of our truly core values that holds us firmly into why we do what we do is our partnership with the land. So the pictures up here show some different examples of how we partner with the land. To start off, we grow pretty much all of our own forages directly on the farm or within a 2 to 7 mile radius of our farm. This allows us to be able to stay connected with our community and to grow quality forages for our animals. We believe that, like all farmers, taking care of the land is important, and understanding that ecological component is how we farm in the best way that we can. I think that all farmers know and understand that in order to be good farmers and keep our land fruitful for years to come is that we have to invest in it and take good care of it. So taking care of those good quality forages allows us to be better farmers and take better care of our animals if we have animals that eat those crops. And so taking care of the land has been a huge component of how we farm. We grow a lot of our own feed, like said, and harvest that and store it on our family's farm. We also rotationally graze our cows, which allows us to be able to make the most out of our land. We separate out into about 8 or 9 pastures when the year is at its peak, and our cows move through those, allowing us to give time for the land to rest, because we understand that, again, protecting that land is part of what makes it fruitful. So we've also done a lot of ecological enhancements on our farm as well, including planting trees. This is a picture of Kate as a kid planting a tree on our farm. And that helps us to build up our riparian zone on our farm, or stream buffer that we have in protecting the salmon. And so in this picture here, you can also see the riparian zone buffer, which is right next to our fields that we fertilize. We keep all of our manure as fertilizer because we understand that that's a valuable resource to us, and have been able to develop a nutrient management plan with the Whatcom Conservation District. And so all of that comes together in this kind of motto that we've created for our value-added business of sustainable from soil to spoon. We want to keep every aspect of our farm sustainable, protecting our land, and all the way from soil to spoon. We've been able to do that by keeping these ecological enhancements on our farm and just continually working for ways to protect our farm. That's been a core value to us. Another way that we've been able to do ecological enhancements on our farm is through research on the American kestrel falcon. About 15 years ago, our mom Karen started this research on falcons and came to recognize that these tiny little falcons are a natural predator for a lot of the pests that are on all different types of farms in our area, including berry and dairy. And so that leads me into another one of our core values, as not just for us, but I believe for all farmers, that we understand that every animal plays an important role on the farm. So we have our more obvious ones, like the cows producing quality milk for us. We take care of our cows so that they can produce that quality feed. Then we have our very lovable and wonderful barn cat Tina, who is our star mouser on the farm. And our dog Maggie over here, who sometimes does a good job of protecting the farm. But we don't really need to be alerted when the milk truck arrives. That's okay, that's not a stranger. So she kind of is funny sometimes about that. And then of course we have our wild animals as well, like the American kestrel that I talked about, and the eagle similarly, playing as natural predators that can help us to keep our farm in balance. I think us, alongside all farmers, we understand that it's valuable for us to keep those wild animals in place and to maintain ecosystem balance in order that, as said, our farm will stay fruitful. And I think that goes back to the point of all farmers being those natural ecologists, the original ecologists, wanting to take care of the land. And eagles also play a role in decomposition. If we have an animal, a stillborn calf or livestock that die, we can put those out in the fields, and the eagles take care of the decomposition process of that and decaying. And speaking of decay, the dung fly also plays an important role in that. And what's interesting with the dung fly as well is that they eat fruit flies. So they're also a natural predator that plays a very important role for our berry farmers too. So understanding all of this is interconnected, and then as well with the salmon, understanding that they play an important role in water quality. We understand as farmers that all of it needs to be interconnected, and we actually see ourselves as part of that food chain and ecological balance process as well. And having all of these values of ecology and keeping those rooted within us has helped us to shape who we are, what we do on our farm, how we manage it. And Kate's going to go into next of how we've been able to grow from that as well.
Ooh, nice job. All right, what I'm wondering is if people can hear me out of this. No, then I don't know why I'm wearing it. But. Oh, beautiful. Yes, I've used one of these before. Now I know. All right, cool. Thanks, Ellie. Nice job. So Ellie kind of introduced a bunch of these values that we have. We really want to acknowledge that all farmers have these values. A lot of people like to attack farmers, right? You guys don't care about the environment. You're like robbing all the nutrients from the soil. And we all know, whether we've been farming for a year or 75 years, that it doesn't last if we aren't taking good care of the land. So what I'm going to talk about is how we take that and communicate it to our customers to build a market. So planning ahead, Ellie talked a little bit about our grandparents and the previous generations, but the reality is we, as the fourth generation, look at this industry and we see it changing dramatically since our grandpa was farming in '69. So this is just US ag census data just from Whatcom County. In '69, there were more than 800 dairies in this county. Today, I don't have the 2022 data up yet, but depending on who you ask, there's like, I want to say around 60-ish dairies in the county now. And we've also, with that trend downward in number of farms, we've seen a trend upward in number of cows per farm to make it survivable. So if we think back to before my time, Secretary of Ag Earl Butz famously said, "Get big or get out." But even more recently, in 2019, Secretary of Ag Sonny Perdue echoed those sentiments and said, "The big get bigger and the small go out," specifically at the World Dairy Expo that year. So we could be like everybody else and just quit and go out, because it's a really hard industry, whether you're a dairy farmer or any other type of farmer. Like Marie talked about, there's so many challenges in this industry. But as Marie talked about as well, there are moments of excitement and joy, and there's a rewarding aspect to being a farmer too. So when I came back to the farm in 2020 and then like fully quit my corporate job in 2021, my goal was, hey, let's give it a shot, and how can we make this marketable? So we launched a new business. So 2021, we started making Icelandic style skyr. What in the world is skyr? It's a type of yogurt, and I chose it for a number of reasons. It is something that I figured out how to make over the years leading up to that time. When I was 9, my dad taught me how to make yogurt, and I did that for my 4-H demonstration. So we've been making our own yogurt and our own food forever in our family. But it took a lot of years to kind of figure out, okay, what can we perfect? What can we make well? And what is there a market for? There's a lot of wonderful cheeses made in this area, and there's plenty of room in the cheese sector to expand. We hope to do that. But specialty cheeses aren't something that somebody eats every single day. Yogurt, there are people who have yogurt every day for breakfast. So we wanted to choose a product that would have good turnover and move more volume, because we have 200 cows, which according to the last slide is actually becoming a smaller and smaller farm these days. So we did a lot of trial and error. There was a lot of failure that went into this. Also thinking about Marie's wonderful talk, she touched on don't compare yourself. So yeah, just not comparing behind some of the highlight reel. There's a lot of failure and trying again and again to get to where we are now. So Ellie did a lovely job of kind of covering a bunch of our different values, and what we did then was take that and really try to clearly convey that in how we market our product. So here's our skyr. It's pretty straightforward and simple, like what it is from when you approach this product on the shelf or at the farmer's market. It's in sustainable packaging, it's glass. We chose that intentionally because we want something that is recyclable and hopefully in the future reusable. We do take our jars back, but not on a large scale yet. We define the product right there at the right there on the label. So skyr, Icelandic style yogurt. And then we use simple, wholesome ingredients. So we're not putting in a bunch of additives or thickeners or anything. The plain skyr is just 2 ingredients, and that's what we tell our customers at the farmer's market when we see them. It's like, yeah, this just has 2 ingredients, milk from our cows and probiotic bacteria. And people love to hear that. That's what consumers are looking for now, is simplicity, natural, and close to the source. And those are really our cows right on the label. That's a photo I took. You can see Mount Baker in the background. People people like that too, and they don't even realize it at first because there's so much, I guess, skepticism of food out there. So we try to do a really good job of being transparent and saying, this is what it is, this is who we are. And like Ellie said, it's sustainable from soil to spoon. It sounds kind of cheesy, but it's not fake. Like, that's really what we're trying to do. And then also, I think telling the story to our customers is huge. As Marie said, again, a lot of people are on social media with their farm. We are as well. And we show the highlight reel on the left side, like at the farmer's market. We're there, we're telling the story to the customers and showing the product and showing cute little drawings of cows. We're showing the wins when we get into a new store or when we launch a new flavor. Like, we're putting that all out there. But what we also try to talk about is the more vulnerable, difficult moments. And we don't shy away from that. So on our social media, we'll talk about when we had a fire in '69. That's the top right corner. Our barn burned down and we lost everything, including the cows, including the tractor. I wasn't there. Our dad was there. And that is a story that people connect with. It's a real human experience that sucked. It wasn't great. But if you can show kind of the challenges and the vulnerable side of things too, I think that really resonates with people. They don't feel like you're just fake. And then more recently, our challenges, in 2021, we had the heat dome. And so that's one of our cows underneath a misting system that we put up really quick just to cool down our animals. 106 degrees we hit at the farm. And then we had the flood the same year, and our pastures were all flooded. We had to evacuate 70 heifers. We posted about that and let our customers know, hey, everybody is dealing with challenges. And I think people appreciate too then, like, the level of work that goes into being a farmer. So I guess kind of a couple of the questions that I asked myself when I looked at, okay, is this something I really want to do? My siblings, I think about this too, is what do you have to offer and what do you have to lose? And from that, then how do you take that and market it to customers? So what you have to offer, it's your values. How can you translate that and showcase that for people to sell a product? And then what we have to lose, oftentimes that's the same thing as what we have to offer. So again, being transparent, what's difficult, what's great, and just really trying to showcase all of that for our customers. And then resources, I just included a couple of great resources. We did not do this by ourselves. I mean, obviously, we wouldn't be where we are without the previous generations who kind of built up the farm that we're on today. But even for new farmers who are wanting to start a new farm this year or next year, there's a lot of great resources out there. We used all of these that are shown and more. So the Ag Biz Center down in Skagit, they're great for securing funding, grants, loans. WSU Extension has some great courses. Cultivating Success is an ag business course that I took. Very worth the time and investment. And then online, there's just various courses, other farmers out there who have kind of mastered the marketing. And the one I listed is 3 Cow Marketing. She has a couple of free and paid sources. And then I don't have it written, but never underestimate the value of talking to your network. Talk to other farmers. You never know who you will find who might have an idea or a way to collaborate to help you start a new business or give you a new idea of what to do. So anyway, we're here as a resource. We'd love to help anybody who wants to get started with value added because people helped us and we want to pass it on. And that's kind of all I've got, and I think Annika's gonna maybe have a panel now.
Great.
Thanks.
And these resources, that's why we created this Whatcom Farm Expo, is to create a network for you all to ask those hard questions and learn from other people's mistakes and successes. So many of these WSU and NABC are here today, as well as the Whatcom Conservation District that they alluded to as well. We've got resources for grants. We have resources for all sorts of technical financial assistance, as well as educational tools, loan programs, etc. And I did want to point out after Marie's talk that WSU has a farmer stress program, and they're here today with resources for anybody who is looking for a little help in that department as well. So I'd love to entertain any questions that you have for Marie.
Marie's in the back.
Oh, there she is. So any questions for our three presenters today?
Including Marie. Marie, come up here. Our farm, we farm 200 acres. I can't speak to Marie's.
My farm's 142 acres.
142 acres. Which are, those are good sized farms for Whatcom County, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I'm so curious. So now are all four siblings working on the farm, and that is the plan for you guys moving forward?
All four of us play a role in some way. So Kate and I work with the Creamery, and Kate also does some herdsmanship work on the farm. Zach, my twin brother, is pretty much the main herdsman alongside our dad. And then Ben helps out all around wherever he can, in addition to his other job.
I will say that Ellie and Ben also both have jobs off the farm, so they're impressive because they do a lot.
And I know in future years you've been asked to talk about succession planning, and how can your parents pass down to you, and how can we keep this land in perpetuity being farmed, right? So it's another content area that we're really wanting to maintain, so that we want cows, not condos. It's sort of any other questions folks have for? Yes.
What are you guys doing for manure management, compost management?
Yeah, so we have an earthen lagoon that we've had, I don't know, Dad, how long? And so we just retain that all winter, and then we follow the TSUM 200 guideline of when to apply it, and this year it came early, so we applied our first manure in January. And we also have, with 200 cows, that's a lot of manure. So we have enough capacity to store it all once in a while. Like when there was the rain last year or the year before, when there was a lot of flooding, the CD actually helped us out with being able to transfer some of it to a neighboring lagoon from, there's a lot of dead dairies around because a lot of people went out. So the fortunate part about that is that we could move some of our excess manure into the neighbor lagoon while it was still wintertime and we weren't able to spread. But then we also, at our scale, we're like big enough that we have this fair amount of manure. We have a good balance. We have 200 cows, 200 acres, so we find that that's a good balance where we don't have an excess. So we keep all of it. And then we also contract with a custom business who does manure spreading, because we don't have all the big fancy equipment to be able to do it ourselves efficiently.
Yeah, and I just pulled back on the slideshow because the picture on the far left is of our manure application just a couple days ago that we did. First day of TSUM 200.
And you have a dairy nutrient management plan,
Mm-hmm.
conservation district, and we do nutrient management planning for all sized farms. So that can help build that agronomic rate. And we develop those plans free, confidential. You can talk to the folks at the Whatcom Conservation District that are that first move right there at the figured.
I'm actually curious to hear the answer to the same question from the other farmer, Marie.
Our manure is a lot more solid than dairy manure because it's beef cattle. So compost, it hangs out and under cover and all piled up and then gets spread on our field to fertilize our grass that we make hay out of. Yep.
Marie has actually a really great manure storage situation now at your farm. It's
Yeah.
pretty, it's awesome. Yes.
Question for me, you gave tips on how, like, you could help other people or steps out as far as active listening and being attention, wondering what strategies you developed for yourself and help people. Can you do some here, like anxiety, etc.?
Sure. So some of the strategies that I've developed is like when I get really down, like reaching out to friends of mine that I feel comfortable or asking for help from friends like Dakota, I'm sitting next to you. Has definitely helped me. And trying to focus on what I'm doing, what my goals are, because I get this loop where I'm like, why am I doing this? This is so hard, really get down on myself, and then try to really focus in on why am I doing this? Like, what is important to me, so that I can kind of focus on something more positive. I'm doing this because I love doing this, even though I don't right now. I do love doing this, but mostly reaching out to people. I also see a therapist and have for a long time, and that is really helpful too. So I don't know, not really anything super specific, but definitely reaching out to people, and it's taken me a while to learn how to ask for help, but that's a big thing too. It was like recognizing when I need it and asking for it.
Thank you, Marie. Any other questions for our